Hello and welcome to the Dream Team deadline stream on the Dream Team Professor podcast. Good morning. We'll be running all the way up till 11 a.m. this morning for the Dream Team deadline. First kickoff is the 12:30 Newcastle versus Man City. Again, hoping that we might get some leaks. I'm scanning Twitter at the same time, hoping that we might get some news. But the new change in sort of squad release time seems to have disrupted that a little bit. And I think some of the regular team leakers as well started putting their leaks behind a paywall. So maybe I'll have to subscribe and share them all with you if that works. But I don't know how ethical that is really. We'll go through a few questions in the chat. Plenty of you in here already. I'm streaming this on... Where am I streaming this on? Streaming this on YouTube, Twitter, and now TikTok as well. Although still not sure how well the TikTok streaming is going to go. Last time I streamed on TikTok, the only question I got was, can I fix televisions? Which, yeah, I can't, but I don't know why. That was one of the questions. But we'll go through some of the YouTube questions first, because they tend to be a bit more on topic. So morning to Drizzle. Ian's allotment, first question up. So changing Robinson for Trent and Rashford for Diaz or Doku. Team value at 56. I guess that's million. Just broken into 600 points. Who would you choose as captain if not Haaland or Salah? So Robinson for Trent, no problem at all with that. And Rashford for Diaz or Doku. It's probably going to be Diaz on his current form, despite me taking him out last week, rather embarrassingly. But yeah, I think it probably would be Diaz. You get the price rise as well out of him, and the team value is wicked there. The captain, I'd question why you want to go outside of Haaland or Salah, unless you haven't got either. If you haven't got either, I think Saka's probably the best shout this week outside of those two. But I've got a captaincy poll currently up on YouTube, and it's 87% are on Haaland at the minute. So Salah's on 7 and Saka's on 4. So it seems like it's going to be a bit of a landslide, Ian, if you haven't got Haaland or Salah. So Saka, if you've not got either, but I would question why you wouldn't just go with one of Haaland or Salah if you can. 2008, Benji, good morning. How important do we think it is to get as many true double game week players in the starting 11, i.e. players that should get 180 minutes? I do think 180 minutes is going to be a big ask with the amount of games there is now. Even getting double game week players seems to be harder than I expected. I mean, I went into last week with almost a whole squad, but actually I had 4 Spurs, including my 12th man, and actually only one of them even started, which was Son. So I do think it's going to be a lot harder to predict. 180 minutes is probably going to be, pretty impossible almost. But I do think that it's important to try and get 2 starts if you can. But then, I mean, if you're getting the guaranteed 2 starts, it might not always be the best players either. So it's finding the right balance, I think. But there are a few out there. Obviously, if you're going for like a Gabriel or a Saliba, they're kind of nailed for the 180 minutes. I guess like centre-back's probably the best bet because they don't get subbed. But yeah, there's a few out there. Luke Sinclair saying, all right, lads, but it's just me this morning. Ben was working the night shift, and Tony's watching Blackburn today. So just me this morning. Teams Martinez, Timber, Robinson, Porro, Onana, Saka, Eze, Rogers, Diaz, Haaland, and Salah. Taking out Porro and Robinson and Eze for either Gabriel and Tielemans or Lewis/Havertz. Yeah, I think I'll show my team in a minute, but I'm probably going to take Porro out. But I don't think there is anything wrong with having him. I'd get rid of Robinson much before Porro if you could. And either Eze for Gabriel and Tielemans. Oh, here we go. Porro/Robinson for Eze, Gabriel or Tielemans. I can afford Tielemans and Havertz this week. And going Tielemans, even though this is a really nice week for Havertz. I just feel like the Tielemans points seem really reliable. I do think you're more likely to get a haul out of Havertz. I've still got a few question marks whether or not he's going to play out and out striker, or maybe sort of him and Trossard sort of rotating and stuff. But yeah, as like if it was like a 1 week punt, maybe I prefer Havertz, but I like Tielemans as a longer term player, I think. DG Bournemouth, Sells, Udogi, Lewis, Digne, Saka, Rodgers, Bruno, Eze, Szoboszlai, Salah, Haaland, Digne and Szoboszlai for Konsa and Solanke. I really like Solanke, well, hence the thumbnail, but I do really like Solanke as a pick this week. Had a really good week last week, due a rise. I think it was always going to be wondering when he was going to sort of find his feet or get that first goal, but he seems to have got it now and his confidence is up. So I do think that Solanke looks a decent pick, I think, this week. Konsa's a little bit boring, but you know he's 100% going to start both games and seems to be doing all right for bonus at right back when he plays there as well. Or Digne, Bruno for TA and Savinho. That's tough. I still think I'd give Bruno another week. I know he's didn't do very well last week. But I still think I'd stick through. Like the way I got frustrated with Diaz last week, took him out and he's hauled. Like I can imagine that could still happen with someone like Bruno Fernandes. I like the Konsa Solanke move, to be fair. Although I am bringing Trent in myself this week. Couple from TikTok. Well, they're actually about football. All right, we've got Cole Reese, who's in and out this week. Let me just quickly bring it up on the screen, save to keep referencing it. But it's going to be Tielemans and Trent coming in for me this week. Let me quickly bring it up on the screen. This is how I'm planning to line up this week. So Sells in goal, Rico Lewis, Vardiol, and Porro's coming out for Trent. I thought about Gabriel, but I just think that Trent has just got much more attacking upside, even though I think that the clean sheet odds are probably in Gabriel's favour. Longer term, I think Trent's a better pick. And those attacking returns, even though Gabriel has scored 2 in 2, I think Trent's outweighs it. Then I've gone for Tielemans in for. Who's he in for? That's a good start. Tielemans coming for Eze this week. God, I went blank. I just think Tielemans long term. I've got money in the bank, 1.2, so I could get to like a Havertz potentially, or even an Arsenal defender. But I've had my eye on Tielemans for a couple of weeks now, and I think the fixtures are still there for him. They seem to stay good. Apart from Bayern, Ipswich away, Bayern, Man U at home, Fulham away, and Bologna, I think, at home. I think they look quite nice for Villa. Do I think Sterling could be a shout, Ryan? Not yet. I want to see him start in the Premier League first, or at least the Champions League. I don't think Bolton is enough to go off of. Savinho or Tielemans? I'm going for Tielemans. He just seems to be getting 90 minutes every single game now. With Savinho, he could still get rotated. Lee Martin, Livramento, and Rashford out for Lewis and Jackson. Yeah, don't mind that. I think I like Solanke better than Jackson, though, personally. Stop online hate. Captain is Jack Grealish. You love your City captains or players in general. Philip, Sells, and Nico Williams for Neto and Calafiori. I don't like going. I'm assuming that's Neto, the Arsenal keeper. Just it might be all right for a week. It might be all right for a 1 week punt, but then I think you might end up getting stuck with a non-playing keeper, and then have to use another transfer as all. But it could work out. And then Calafiori, I don't know 100% if he's going to start. I've seen a few predicted lineups with him, so if it does stay the same as the lineup for Man City, then I think that you'll be okay. But I'm just not certain that Calafiori starts. But maybe he gets one this week at least. Arteta's just made it hard work for us all because we just don't know who's going to start out of the back line. He said that we'll wait and see till today for Raya. Timber did train, so Timber seems safe. Gabriel and Saliba seems safe. Calafiori depends on what happens with Ben White, I think. I think if Ben White's fit, Ben White starts. Martin wouldn't do Calafiori. If you can get to it, do Timber or Lewis. I do think that Rico Lewis, I've got Rico Lewis, and I do think Rico Lewis and Calafiori probably have got similar chance of starts this week. You wouldn't be surprised if either got one start each. I'm probably not I've got Lewis, and I'm kind of not expecting him to play Newcastle. I think he'll play the European fixture. Vicario, Robertson, Saliba, Rico, Saka, Martinelli, Kobe Minu, Diaz, Solanke, Haaland, and Jackson. Not a question, just the team. Anyone thinking of using boosters this game week? I've seen a few people talk about goal bonus actually. Either debating doing it this week or doing it for game week 8. I still want to. If you look at my team there, I've still got like Kulusevski, Rodgers, even maybe Maddison or Tielemans. I don't think are the biggest goal threat because I'm just trying to get like value for money picks. So I think I'd rather try and wait until I've built my budget up quite a bit. And then I could maybe get all of the big hitters in. Maybe we know who takes penalties as well for like Villa, Spurs by then as well. Try and get a few more penalty takers in there. But I don't think it's a bad shout. I see someone mentioned 12th man as well. I'll come to that in a minute. Obviously, I played mine on Son last week. But I think there's some shouts for 12th man as well this week. Need to shift 2 of these 3. Rashford, Eze, Robinson. Got 0.6 budget to play with. I mean, I don't think Eze is a problem. Like, I would still keep him for Everton if you've got other problems to solve, like Robinson and Rashford. But the problem is Eze's 4.9 million, so you might want that money to maybe get an upgrade on the other ones. Solanke 3.9, Rashford 4.1. I would drop Rashford to Solanke personally. But I mean, again, if you thought Rashford was good last week, is 1 week enough to put you off of him? Morning, Miss Snoopy. Which one of Lewis, Timber, Calafiori, Consa, or any other 3 to 4 million defender? Digne and Ned. Ned has stuck around, hasn't he? I think I'd go Timber. I think now we saw yesterday that apparently he's trained, like done full training. I think Timber at 4 million is probably the best value way into the Arsenal defence, I think. I think that if Ben White's fit and is starting, I think Timber will just play left back. And then if White is out injured, I think Timber will play right back. So I like Timber out of those options for this week. I know I'm on Rico Lewis, but I was on him already. So yeah, I like him as an option. I don't mind Rico Lewis, obviously. He's in my team, but yeah, I think Timber. Oh yeah, I've just seen there's a lot of people saying Timber as well. Yeah, I think Timber's a really good shout this week. Morning, Mr. H. Saka, 12th man, false. He's going to start both. He's on pens. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't get an attack in return this week. PSG's not. PSG at home. I don't think it's an easy fixture. I definitely don't think we'll smash PSG. Leicester might be a good one. It's okay. I don't think it's amazing, but I think you have to have quite a bit of luck. Like I played my 12th man on Son. I thought he'd start 2, and then within the first like 10 minutes, Spurs get a red card. Ben played his 12th man on KDB recently, got 2 starts, and then in the second game, KDB got injured in the first half. So I think you have to have a bit of luck on your side with this 12th man, it seems. John Seymour, I've got Sells, Lewis, Vardiol, Dalot, Saka, Szoboszlai, Doku, Diaz, Duran, Haaland, and Salah. Is it worth rolling a transfer? Only player I'm unhappy with is Szoboszlai. I think I'd want to move Duran on, to be honest, mate. Unless you think he starts Ipswich. I don't think they'll start Duran for Bayern. And then you might end up with no starts. I know Duran in for Wickham looked good. But I don't know if I'd want to keep Duran, personally. And even Szoboszlai is not terrible, but yeah, I'd probably swap Szoboszlai and Duran. What sort of price is Duran at? 3 million. That makes it hard. I'd drop Duran down to Rodgers if you can for the price. Get the price rise off Rodgers. Similar price, then upgrade Szoboszlai. Do I think Timber and White will play? I don't know on Ben White. Let me check Twitter, see if we've got any leaks, but nothing gets through Arsenal now. All I know is that they were saying Timber trained. People are saying that apparently Raya has been spotted at the hotel this morning. No way to confirm. There's apparently a video going around. Do with that what you will. No, I'm not seeing anything on my team leaks at the minute. But I think Timber will start. I think Timber is predicted to stay the same price, Philip, because I'm looking at maybe next week I should be able to swap. I think it was Kulusevski. I'll have the money in the bank to move Kulusevski to Timber because his price is due to stay the same. So I quite like doing that. Lee Martin, Livramento and Rashford out for Lewis and Jackson. Did I do this one already? I think I did. Solanke, I prefer than Jackson, but guys, was gonna defense Rare Timber. Yeah, someone's saying that Ray is at the hotel, mate, but I don't know. I don't know how true that is, to be honest with you. And surely he could just be at the hotel anyway. Thigh injury is not going to keep him away from the team hotel, surely. Yeah. Would you rather Diaz or Tielemans if price wasn't a concern? It sounds silly because Diaz has done so well this week, but I want Tielemans. I just hate having players that start one game, bench the next. But yeah, I feel like I prefer to get the constant flow of points rather than just constantly worrying about are they starting, aren't they? Louis Smith took out Eze and Rodgers for Tielemans and Johnson. Yeah, I think that looks all right. I don't think Rodgers is bad though this week. A couple more from YouTube. Let me see if I don't think your comments come through on Twitter. I think they'll come through on YouTube only. Not had it verified, but I'm seeing someone saying that Vardiol, Gundogan, and Rico Lewis all start. There's a geezer underneath it saying this account is blocked for a reason. So I don't know how true that is. Let me just check. I've got notifications set up for ones that I think are usually reliable, and I haven't seen anything on that. Ryan, morning, Scott. Hope you're well. All good, mate. All good. Ned and McNeil out for one of the following. Oh, you've done well to keep McNeil all this time. Not so much Ned, though. Calafiori, Savino, Calafiori, Yuri Tielemans, or Lewis and Savino? A couple people saying Lewis starts for Newcastle, so just if that's true, I would maybe go Lewis Savino. I do really like Tielemans. Obviously, that's why I'm bringing him in. I think all of them options are going to be a big improvement now on obviously Ned and McNeil. McNeil's done well up until now. Mark Warner, morning. Sleeper out for Timber to raise the cash. I guess the cash for what? But like, yeah, I do think Timber's going to be a decent hold, and I think he'll be good value if you need that money desperately. The football bros, Haaland or Saka captain, because Saka would start both. Haaland maybe not. I've seen people say that they don't think Haaland will start the match against Slovan Bratislava, but I think he will. I don't think he's got any sort of fitness concern at the minute. Unless he picks something up against Newcastle, but by that point it'll be too late anyway. But he's just had Watford off, hasn't he? He's not played in the Carabao Cup at all, so I don't see why he wouldn't start both games. I think he's going to want to try and get records in the Champions League. I'm not concerned about Haaland not starting Champions League, and I reckon Haaland could score a hat trick. I don't know if Saka's got a hat trick in him. Joe, I think it's worth doubling up on Liverpool defence with Trent or get Gabriel in. I'm going Trent, but I wouldn't be confident enough to double up on Liverpool. I'm not even particularly getting Trent in for the Liverpool clean sheets. If you can get a Liverpool and a Arsenal, I'd try and do that. Like I like Trent and Timber maybe as a combo, or if you can afford Trent and Gabriel, then yeah, do that. Palmer 12th man. No, he's not in the European squad. I don't think there's any point. 12th man in a single game week player. Killian, hi mate, Gordon and Livramento out for Havertz and Lewis. Yeah, I think they both look good. Connor's just DM'd me as well saying that Lewis starts. Connor, who's the source, mate? Drop it in the comments. I'll look at the bottom. I've not seen it. Chris, morning chaps, or chap, I guess. Tielemans or Maddison. I like Tielemans. I think he's going to start both. Maddison done really well this week, but I'm a bit disappointed that he didn't play in Europe. Personally, just think it's a steady flow of points. If you look at Tielemans, like 10-pointer here, did get the assist, but I mean, even if you take off those 3 points, that's still decent. 5 points against Arsenal. He's getting tackles and bonus. 3 points against Leicester weren't great, but still, it's not blanking completely. Everton got 5 points without an attacking return. And then when he does get an attacking return, like Young Boys or Wolves, it's 11, 15. And he's getting 90 minutes in all of them. Philip, Sells and Robinson out for Henderson and De Ligt. Was hoping Allison wouldn't be fit, but the news looks like he will be. Yeah, I don't mind swapping the keeper over. I'm happy just keeping Sells, though, if you've got other stuff that you want to do. The numbers for Forest defence haven't been bad, to be honest. I think he'll be fairly all right. They've got a few players missing this week, but yeah, if you have to swap, I don't mind swapping to Henderson. Savino or Yuri Tielemans? I'm going Tielemans. I had the choice of both. Dino and Rashford out, or give them another week, or Eze and McNeil out. No, I'll do Eze and McNeil out. Get Get European players in if you can, and hope that you get 2 fixtures out of them. Johnson in. Yeah, I think he's decent. It was a 50-50 for me whether to go Kulusevski or Johnson. I thought it'd be close, so I went for the cheaper one, but Brennan Johnson smashed it this week. Morning, Jen. Thinking Rashford and Robinson out, Trent Solanke in. I like that. Or Tim and Rashford. Tim and Rashford for Timber and Johnson. No, I like Trent and Solanke. Are Allison and Raya starting? Need to know ASAP. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know. It sounded like Allison was starting. I don't know about Raya. Let me just quickly refresh the old Twitter. Yeah, not seeing any more leaks other than apparently Raya was at the team hotel, but it's nothing. Yeah, apparently the source is not great on Rico Lewis, so I probably would ignore that. Don't take that for gospel. This is the dangerous game of looking at leaks. Take them all with a pinch of salt. Bill Vega in top 100. Do we know how many entrants there are? I think it was about 350,000 roughly, but I don't know the exact number. What would you do with Duran? If you haven't got Rodgers, I'd get Rodgers in because I think he's gonna start more. It's an awkward price point though, without downgrading someone else. Might Neto start instead of Rayo? I think he will, but until we know more information on how long Neto could start Leicester and then Raya's back for PSG, it's all just guessing, isn't it? So I wouldn't be that interested in getting Neto in personally, unless we knew he was going to be longer term. 10:30, lock in those teams. Do you think Eze will outscore Rashford this week with Everton game? I think he will. I think he will, just in the single. Yeah, if Rashford ain't getting 2 starts, then I think he will. What do you think is Declan Rice as an option? I've seen a few people mention Declan Rice. I don't love it. I don't think you'd choose him if he hadn't got a goal and an assist against Bolton. So if you took that out of the equation, I wouldn't be that hot on it. But I mean, he's taking corners, and obviously Gabriel's a threat, Saliba's a threat. He does get bonus and tackles, so it's not a bad pick at all. But I just wonder whether you would have picked him if he didn't do well against Bolton. What keeper should I bring in? If you're going for a European keeper, I'd still go Martinez. I think he's value for money for a European keeper. But otherwise, I was actually debating this myself. Whether I know it's going to sound bad because Everton's defense have been really poor, but I was considering maybe going up to Pickford if Branthwaite's back and they start to look good. But it's a big if. How are we doing on this captaincy poll? It's going up quicker than I can look. We're on about 350 votes, 83% in favour of Erling Haaland on the captaincy poll. Currently 750 people watching, but I've got like 40 likes. So if you could drop a like on the YouTube stream, I'd appreciate that, guys. Helps the channel out. Would you use goal bonus this week? I think if you've got enough goal scorers or big hitters in your team, then yeah, I don't mind it. But I think if you can build budget a bit better later in the season, I think you can fit more in. But at least we've got Haaland and Salah fit with good double game weeks this week. No Son news, sorry. Eze and Garnacho, which one would you swap out? I'd still swap out Eze, I think. I do think Garnacho will start twice a week eventually. I don't like Neto. I know someone's mentioned Neto in goal again, but I just don't know how long Raya's out for. I'm looking to put either Diaz or Trent. I prefer Trent just because I think he's going to get 2 starts, and Diaz starting only 1 a week winds me up. But if you can deal with that and deal with him playing once a week and maybe blanking, but maybe hauling, then yeah, go for that. But I like the steady points. Morning, Patrick. Jordan, McCarthy, Solanke or Watkins? 2.6 mil in the bank if Solanke, 0.7 if Watkins. I obviously do think that Watkins is better, but I think I'd go Solanke and use the money elsewhere at this point in the season, personally. I just think Solanke's really good value at that price. We were just sort of waiting for that first goal. Solanke as well. This is a good point from the football bros that Solanke more likely to get decent minutes, whereas Duran can come on eventually. Saka or Salah? I'm an Arsenal fan, and I still think that Salah is the better pick, just in terms of goals. Saka is obviously doing really well. In an ideal world, you have them both, but I still think as a dream team asset, I like Salah more. Savinho and Tielemans or Timber and Tielemans? I'd go Timber and Tielemans. Timber and Havertz in, Robinson and Rashford out. Scares me having Vardiol and Timber, and if both don't play. Yeah, well, I think I do think that if you have Vardiol and Timber, I think you'd have to be unlucky that they both don't play, and then they'll play the other match. I think Vardiol will probably get a rest, one in every sort of 4 or 5 games. I think it's not like he plays 1 a week. Bruno and White out for Salah and Lewis. Yeah, I like that. I really like Salah this week. I think he's going to do well. Not enough to captain him though. Cheers, guys. Just seen, likes have jumped up almost at 100. So thanks a lot. Heath, as an Arsenal fan, how nailed is Timber for the foreseeable? I do think he'll get rests. Like, he's just come back from a ACL injury, but I do think he's played a lot more games already than I expected he would. So he must be at decent fitness level. I've even seen Arsenal podcasts that I listen to say that they think that he could be a serious threat to Ben White's minutes on the right-hand side. But yeah, I think he's pretty nailed. If everyone's fit, I do think he's going to get decent minutes either at left or right back. Right, just over 20 minutes. So make sure you've done your teams, locked in, chose your captains, all that stuff. Quick refresh on Twitter if we got anything. Yeah, I was just listening to something, and Ray has apparently been spotted at the hotel, but I don't. Does that necessarily mean that he starts? I'm not sure. Bruno for Saka. Yeah, I think you really want to have Saka for this week with those doubles. Get Carter. Plan was to get rid of Eze for a doubler with Porro now not nailed for a double. I think I may go for Consa, 0.3 rise. Would love an Arsenal defender, but can't afford Gabriel or Saliba. Timber or Calafiori? I would definitely go Timber over Calafiori personally. I just I feel like if it turns out that Arteta is sort of just playing his usual games and everyone is fit, I think we've seen that Timber is just above him in the pecking order at the moment. So I would go Timber over Calafiori personally. And I like Konsa as a pick. Alex, not going back to Diaz then? No, I'm not going back. I know I don't blame anyone that is going back to him. But I just think it's not for me. I know I'll lose patience again the next time he blanks and then doesn't play in the second game. I just know I'll lose patience. So I'm thinking if I can get Tielemans with like a 5-6 pointer every game and he plays every game, maybe Diaz blanks, then gets his 15 or a blank again. I don't think there'll be too much in it, but I might be wrong. If Tielemans ends up on pens, I'll be buzzing with that. Neil Jones, really undecided, Solanke or Watkins. I think I could just covered it, but I think Solanke is the better value for money. Obviously, Watkins is a really, really good pick. I do think Bayern is going to be a tough game, though. So I think Solanke personally, and then I think you can maybe put the other money to good use. Couple off TikTok. Who should I captain, Salah or Watkins? I'd captain Salah. I don't know for certain if Lewis is starting or not. There's been a few leaks, but I don't recognise them as being anyone reliable. There's a video out on Twitter now. Team News FPL has just shared it from Tiki Taka Connor, and David Raya is walking about with the Arsenal squad, but yeah, I don't know what that even means. No City leaks, sorry. Eze and Porro out. Already have Rodgers, but I was thinking Trent and Duran. I wouldn't get Duran in this week, but I like Trent. Salah as 12th man. If you haven't got Salah, a 12th man him in, definitely. I think he's a decent one and the fixtures look good. Wolves have apparently got a load of injuries in there. Well, they've got injuries, but they've also got illness in the squad as well. So I think that'll be a bit of a long game there for Wolves. Take a Minu out for Lewis. Yeah, I thought Lewis was going to start too. I thought Minu was going to start too, but he hasn't now. I don't like Neto for a 1 week punt. Jonathan, morning. Sells Gibbs White out. Sanchez Rodgers in. Yeah, Sanchez has done all right. I don't know if he's going to get 2 games a week though, but Chelsea seem to be keeping clean sheets. I think that is it Jorgensen or someone could start in the Europa League, I've heard. For Chelsea, but I don't think Sanchez is a bad pick for even if it's a 1 a week keeper. Keeping Eze this week, but do you think he's worth keeping all season? I think we'll eventually. I mean, he's probably one of the best 1 game a week people will find. You've obviously got Palmer as well, who's probably going to be 1 a week, but is a lot more expensive. I don't think he's ever going to be a problem, but I do think eventually you'll be able to afford someone that's a double game week player that can outscore him. Rico, that's Rashford out for Jackson. Yeah, I like it. Or like I've said a couple of times, I think I prefer Solanke than Jackson. I'm gonna have to pick ones out that I haven't covered already because we've got just over 15 minutes. I'm bringing in the Jim Daily comedy. I'm bringing in Watkins, but seeing me in the minority. What am I missing? I don't think you're missing anything, mate. I just don't think people can afford to have Watkins and everyone they want. I think everyone would have Watkins if they could afford him. Eze McNeil out. Rodgers Tielemans puts me up to 5 Villa. It is a lot of Villa. I mean, I had 4 Spurs last week, though. 5 Villa probably is better than that. But it is quite a lot. It's hard, though, because you want these European players, and they're the cheapest to get to. FPL man, is Vardio and Eze to Trent Solanke good? Yeah, I like that. I don't think there's anything wrong with Vardo and Eze, though. but I do think Trent Solanke may be better. Johnson is a good pick for Spurs. 12th man options. I mean, obviously, if you haven't got Haaland, Salah, or Saka, they all look decent. Potentially as a 12th. I think Timber plays both games. Max captain faults. Yeah, I mean, it's a tough call between Haaland and Salah, but sometimes you're just going to have to pick between the two of them. Like, there's going to be weeks like this a lot of the season. Maybe if you had like a decent, I mean, Saka could be good as well. So there's 3 good options. Or if you had a Havertz as well in the mix, yeah, I don't mind it. But sometimes I do think we're just going to have to decide. Keep getting asked for City team leaks, but I'm only just scanning Twitter, to be honest. I'm not in the know or anything. All I keep seeing is Raya, but that's more, I think, more FPL relevant. How much do you think Garnacho will drop in price? I might reluctantly keep him. Look on ffstuff.co.uk. They've got a price change prediction tool. Garnacho is predicted to go down 0.1. It says for this week. Got a feeling Calafiori is going to start for Arsenal. Yeah, if White's out, he could. We could anyway, like they did for the City game. Captaincy polls. It's going to be a Haaland landslide. Looks like. So it depends if you want to go against that. And DD out, bought in Jackson, but this one I'm stuck on. Take the Ligt out, bring Lewis in, 2 City defenders, or gamble and switch Palmer for Gabriel Trent and bring a 3rd striker in. I like the second one. I think you're going to get a price rise out of the Ligt, aren't you? I like Trent this week. Obviously, I brought him in. But 3rd striker, yeah, Jackson or Solanke. I like that. Danny, Rashford and Madueke, or Havertz and Doku? I like Havertz and Doku for this week. Son worth keeping or get rid? I don't know if he went off, limped off injured. I don't know what's the latest on Son. Maybe swap him. You could get Son to Havertz, couldn't you? And Son, I know Son did start both the games in Europe, but the fact that he's gone off with an injury, and he's been one of these ones that's complaining about playing too many games, maybe gets a rest the next one. I think I'd sell Son. I had him as my 12th man, but I didn't want to transfer him in. Timber or Calafiori? Timber for me. Solanke or Havertz? I think Solanke is like better value for your team than Havertz, to be honest. But this week, I do think Havertz may outscore him. It's just the price difference. This TikTok stream just keeps asking me if I want to invite people to the stream as a guest, and my fat fingers keep almost pressing the button. Sterling looks cheap, like a good option for Arsenal. I know he's done well against Bolton, but I need to see him do well in the Prem or play Champions League, I think, before he's a dream team consideration, personally. Sorry if I'm skipping out your questions. There's a few repeated. Is Watkins going to start? I think he plays in both. Yeah, I think he starts both. I don't think they'll take any chances. They've just made it into the Champions League. They're going to start him against Bayern, and I think they're going to start him against Ipswich. Simon, hi Scott, bought in Solanke for Rashford and Timber for Neco Williams. Yeah, that looks decent. And then you sort your keeper out next week. McCarthy obviously not playing, but that looks like a solid team. Onana or Rogers? I'd go Rogers. Diaz or Tielemans? I'm going Tielemans, and I can afford to have Diaz back, but it's scary. Diaz is probably the better pick, but I just want someone that's going to definitely play twice a week. Eze and Digne for Maddison and Trent. No, that's fine. I'm a bit disappointed that Madison doesn't look like he's going to play twice a week, but maybe he plays the harder games. Watkins 12th man. The Ipswich fixture's good, but like I feel like if they're ahead against Ipswich with Bayern coming, maybe he goes off early, and then Bayern's not a great game. I don't think. I wouldn't. I think there'll be better weeks. Watkins or Solanke. If price isn't an issue, then it's Watkins, but I do think you can use the money better. Where are we? 10 minutes to go. Still not seeing any more leaks here. Steve Ricks, Gabriel or Saliba, and are you going for cash once fit? I think it's Gabriel over Saliba. I think he's just a bit more attacking. But there's every chance that everyone's marking Gabriel in these next few, and then Saliba comes good. But I'd go Gabriel. Eze to Madison. I'd probably do it if he had nothing else to do, but Eze is a decent single game week player, and at the minute, Madison only played in the one game. So it's not like you're getting a doubler, but there is a chance maybe he comes off the bench in the second game. Obviously, he was not likely to come off the bench when they were already having the lead and down to 10 men in that last one. Thoughts on Delict 0.3 price rise. He's at the price point where there's not much else around. So I probably would do it, get the rise. But if he's not playing twice a week, I don't love it. Semenyo, I don't like Semenyo on Dream Team. I think he's a solid pick for FPL for the next sort of 2 game weeks. But then the fixtures get hard after that. So I'd be looking for a doubler on Dream Team at least. Crazy to go Salah captaincy. No, Daniel, I think the gap actually in between what the points will be really slim, but it's just whether or not you want to go against the crowd this early, which I know is a bit sheep-like, but Haaland's on 81% on this stream. Salah's on 12% for the captaincy. So obviously, if it goes right, it's a big differential, but if it goes wrong, you get a big drop. So yeah, go with your gut, but in a 50-50, I'm usually going to go for the most selected personally. Keane and Ned for Delict and Tossin. I don't know if Tossin will play twice a week or not, but you get the price rises off both, and Keane and Ned aren't doing much for you anyway. So yeah. Do you reckon Duran will start against Ipswich? I mean, he probably deserves a start, but I don't know who he starts ahead of. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like Duran though as a pick, to be honest with you. It was an all right punt for last week. It's been leaked that Neto starts as of 10:30. I hadn't seen that. But you're probably on the ball a bit more than me trying to find it here. All I'm seeing is loads of FPL accounts just saying that Raya's been spotted with the team, but doesn't mean anything, does it? I doubt he's going to stay at home. Diaz or Solanke, longer term. Again, I think Solanke's really good value for money. Diaz might outscore him, but there's a big price difference there. Points per million wise, I think Solanke could be really good. Haaland or Diaz as captain? Haaland all day. All day long. Yeah, it's a good point. James Bevan saying Bevan is saying he's prepping his Man City players for the next few weeks. A lot is on Arsenal on the fixture run, but like City's is really good as well once this Newcastle game is out of the way. So that's why I quite like having these two City defenders. A quick reminder: lock your teams in. We're like 6 minutes now to the deadline. Sorry, I've not been able to get to all of these messages. There's a lot. Almost 1,000 people watching just on YouTube, I think. So leave a like if you found it useful. I'm sorry if I haven't got to all of your questions again. Quite impossible. Hi mate, Burn and Gordon out for Trent and Rodgers. No brainer. Do it. Savinho in for Eze, saves about $1 million. I think I would do it and just hope that you get minutes in both. But like Eze is really good. But I think I probably would do it. Morning Wazza, can't decide Tielemans or Maddison. I think I'd go Maddison. Get the price rise and hope, give him another chance that he starts in midweek or features. But I think, yeah, they're both two really good picks. Where are people getting the predicted price changes from, Jim? ffstuff.co.uk is free. There's a Dream Team tab, and then there's predicted price changes for each game week. Been pretty accurate. Some of them been out by like 0.1, but overall really, really, really helpful. Nobbles, who'd you ask to create the funds for Haaland, Bruno or Ben White? Ben White, just because we don't know his fit. At least we know Bruno's fit. Grassroots to Glory. Check out Grassroots to Glory. That's Tony on his YouTube page there. Sorry, he can't be on. Savinho and Udogi coming in for Tony this week. Yeah. Enjoy Blackburn, mate. Enjoy the game. How do you feel for Savinho in for Eze? Again, yes, similar. I probably would do it, but just know that Eze is a great pick still. Is Johnson a bad pick? No, Brennan Johnson, I think, is a good pick. God, there's a few Savinhos for Eze. I don't feel comfortable saying it, by the way, because Eze is that good. But I think I probably would do it. Savinho or Tielemans, though. I'd go Tielemans like I've done. I've gone Tielemans in for Eze in my team, and I've gone Porro out for Trent. I'm just hoping that these two are more likely to start both of the double, like the European matches and the Premier League matches. Cheers, Miss Noopy, helping everyone out. So FPL Focal team news: Allison is expected back. KDB's out. Isak is a doubt. Son deciding today, and Pedro is out injured. Cheers, Miss Noopy. Clunes, think this is a good week for a different captain with Arsenal playing Leicester, Liverpool against Wolves, Villa against Ipswich, potential max captain. Yeah, but don't mind max captain at all this week. There's plenty of good options. Seems like everyone's going for Haaland as well. So if it does turn out to be someone other than Haaland, you would benefit quite nicely from that. 3 minutes, everyone. Lock in the teams. Mine's set now. I keep having to check it still. Get a bit paranoid about that. Is Madueke worth it? I still don't like it because I just think they're going to change their whole front line for Europe still. Gone Johnson and Gabriel in for Rodgers and Bruno. Yeah, I don't mind that. I still think Rodgers is a good pick, but I think Gabriel looks really good for this week. Thoughts on Foden, his form, and I'll do the Foden and his form after because it's not urgent. Solanke or Tielemans? I like Tielemans. I think both are really good picks, though. I can see myself getting both at some point. Have you spoke about Savinho? Yeah, just recently. Really seems really good for bonus. He seems to have only missed out on games when he's had a bit of a knock or injury, and that game against Arsenal, he was class, got max bonus, and then the second game, he came on. I think he hit the post, had a couple shots on target, looked really good. Cheers, Gary Plants saying that Lewis starts. FPL Tony is saying Lewis starts, and he is on my reliable list. Yeah, Rico Lewis starts. I didn't expect him to start this one, so good for my team. And Haaland starts if he if you weren't sure about that one. So Rico Lewis looking like he's starting decent. Cheers for letting us know, Gary. You guys are helping me out here with the leaks. It's hard to do this on your own. Porro out for Dallo, Matoma out for Madison. Yeah, I don't mind it. Would have been nice if Madison was playing twice a week, but it's decent, that move. Yeah, I think 1 minute, guys. Lock in. Armband on Haaland for me. Porro to Trent and Eze to Tielemans is my move. Good luck. I won't answer any more now because you're probably not going to have time to react to them. So leave it at that for my team. We'll have a little look on FF stuff after. Just waiting for it to refresh as we pass the deadline now. Don't make any, don't mess around with it this close to the deadline. I've seen a few people say things like that. Actually, I don't even want to jinx it. There we go. Deadline has passed. Yeah, I didn't want to start talking about people's transfers not going through 1 minute away from the deadline there. Let's get this screen share back up and running. How do we do this? There we go. So that's how my team looks for game week 6. 365th overall currently, but I have played my 12-man booster, and the ranks are pretty congested as well. I was having a look, and I'd be almost like about 1,000, I think. Cheers, Wazza. Great job managing on my own. Wishing Arsenal fans and anyone who has to listen to Arsenal fans all week a controversy-free weekend. You too, mate. Mutual respect there, eh? Wazza. From Wazza, the Brighton fan. Yeah, I hope Hertzler stays in his technical area this weekend. Cheers, Miss Snoopy. I'll have a quick look. I just want to see what the budget changes were like. How do we do this? So I was at 53.4. I've gone up to 54.5 with just my team this week with 1.2 in the bank. So team's gone up 1.1 million with these transfers in. Tielemans went up 0.3. Trent gone up 0.3 as well. So making a bit of profit on the team. I would really recommend, if you guys aren't budget building, to do that. Let me show you the website as well, ffstuff.co.uk, because can never give enough credit to FF Stuff. Right, so the website, I think it's in the description, but it's ffstuff.co.uk. I'll take it back to this is what it looks like to start off with. There's a tab here, SDT, Sun Dream Team. You've got loads. So you've got loads of previous seasons data if you want to look and see how people did previously. You've got mini leagues, some of the big leagues out there, including the Dream Team Tonic ones. The fixture ticker that I use in my podcasts, you can get access to that for free as well. You've got the leaderboards, the match centers where I do the recaps, looking at top point scorers and stuff. You can look at all this information. Team price change tracker as well. So people I think people struggled with this a little bit. So mine will be auto saved. I don't know if it's because I made a team really quickly when the game came out, but my team ID is like 45. So pretty low there. But it will tell you how much all of your players are going to be predicted to go up or down. But obviously, it's the start of a week. And so I could change it to 6 and it'll probably tell me all the price changes. There you go. But yeah, really, really handy tool to use. I can't remember why I was even telling you now to look at it. There was something in particular. Game week captains. I don't know if Mike's in here from FF stuff. Don't know if this updates straight away. Top 1K captains. This looks like it's updated. So top 1K, Haaland 80% capped. Salah 17% capped. Saka just 0.8. Mike, there we go. Mike, tell me again, remind me in the comments what stuff updates and what stuff doesn't. This looks like it's updated, doesn't it? The top 1K captains. Oh yeah, team ID. People wanted to know how to find their team ID. So you go search manager. Then you can either search for your own team name or you can search for your own name. But you have to do it in a specific format. So i.e. a.space Ferguson. So if you search for your team name like that or your actual team name, it should come up there. And then you'll get your team ID. I'm not going to put my name in there, but yeah. Right, top 1K captains updates instantly. And also transfers in and out. So we can have a look at transfers in and out as well. Most transferred in by the top 1K. It's Yuri. Mr. Tielemans. A lot of people going on Diaz from last week. I don't know how many are going back on him. But Tielemans, second most transferred in. Then we've got Trent, Saka, Nico Jackson, Rico Lewis, popular, maybe after the leak, Solanke. Not that many Arsenal defenders up here, but I guess it's because the transfers in are probably split over quite a few different players. Timber's up there. Gabriel just behind him. Yeah, Solanke pretty popular as well this week. Who's coming out? I reckon Bruno and Rashford might be quite high. Eze, number one transferred out player. I've done it myself, but I'll tell you now, he could still do well. Robinson out, obviously only playing once a week as well. Rashford, a lot of transferred him out. Porro, Garnacho, Son. Then finally, people letting go of Dwight McNeil. I'm sure they've been happy with him. But yeah, I think we'll probably wrap that up. I don't think there's much else to look at. Quickly switch back over to this tab. So I've got like 1.2 in the bank. I'm just trying to think what my initial plans might be. Apparently, I'm not allowed to make transfers. See, I was looking and slightly out. I thought I could get to Timber from Kulusevski, but Timber's got a 0.1 rise, and I thought he was going to stay the same actually. But that was my initial thinking. If Timber did go on to start 2, for example, and he has that home game against Southampton, just a single game week as well next week, I'd have to try and find a little bit of money elsewhere. But it is handy to have that extra in the bank. How much did Foden fall to? 5.7. So if Foden does end up playing, I can straight swap Maddison to Foden. But he'd have to have a serious uptick in form, I think, this week. I wonder if we've got the City lineup now. Jota, no, it's too late now anyway, but Jota starts. Right, I think I'm going to leave it at that, guys. Get ready. I'm probably going to watch the City game. Also got a bit lucky. Won't bore you too much, but I had a food shop scheduled for being delivered, and the time frame included the live stream. So when I found out that I was going to be streaming on my own, I was a little bit worried that we might have a weekly food shop delivered at the same time we were live, but got the notification that's going to be from 11:30, so I better shoot ready for that. But just glad it didn't clash with this stream. All right, cheers everyone. Please leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and have a good game week 6. Cheers, goodbye.